incidents that shocked our community. I would like to start by saying it has been a difficult 4.5 days. I want to recognize the hard work and tireless dedication of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office. As they investigate these tragic incidents, I want to drive home the fact that their work is not done. I want to express my gratitude and my appreciation for the hard work that they do every day in and out. I'll begin with the incident in Bedford Township on Saturday, June 14th, approximately 6 p.m. Members of the Sheriff's Office were dispatched to 1641 West Stearns Road in Bedford Township, following a report of two deceased individuals that were found inside the home. The victim in this case was Gwendolyn Faye Smith, age 17, of Temperance. The suspect in this case is Ryan Jacob List, age 33, of Temperance. The cause of this tragic incident was a gunshot wounds. The manner of death, based on the coroner's report for Gwendolyn, was homicide. The manner of death for Ryan was listed as suicide. Gwendolyn's stepfather arrived home to find Gwendolyn and the suspect with apparent gunshot wounds. The suspect and Gwendolyn, it's believed they had met through time as the bowling coach for the club bowling team at Bedford Public Schools. The details of their relationship are not clear at this time, although it is believed that Gwendolyn did not consider the relation between the two of them to be romantic. The suspect gained entry into the home and shot Gwendolyn multiple times before taking his own life. I want to clarify the suspect's position or involvement with the Bedford bowling team. I was initially informed that he was not an employee of Bedford Public Schools, which was conveyed in the press release that I issued yesterday. However, today I received information that he was a coach, which is an unpaid position for the Bedford bowling team, but he's paid through the bowling establishment, not Bedford Public Schools. And that, in fact, a photograph did appear of him with the bowling team in the 24-25 yearbook. What I'd like to do is transition into the incident in Raisinville Township. On Tuesday, June 17th at approximately 9:47 a.m., members of the Sheriff's Office responded to the area of Heiss Road west of Steffes in Raisinville Township after an individual found after a citizen found two deceased individuals in the roadway. Heiss Road in this area is an unimproved road, not normally traveled. The victim in this case was identified as Faith Renee Hamilton, age 16, and the offender in this case was identified as Landon Brian LaFond, age 16 as well. The manner and cause of death is not being released today because it's pending the coroner's report. Dispatch received the call from Faith's uncle, who found both of them on scene at the Heiss Road location. Detectives have determined that Faith and the suspect had an apparent dating relationship. In the early morning hours of Tuesday, the suspect and Faith communicated and ultimately ended up at the venue. It's unclear at this point if the suspect drove Faith or if she arrived by other means. Both Faith and the suspect suffered gunshot wounds. Located within the suspect vehicle were writings indicating the suspect's intention to take both Faith and his life. Even though both schools are in summer recess, I think it's important to note they've activated their crisis management team to offer assistance to Gwendolyn, friends of Gwendolyn, Faith, and Landon. In closing, I want to stress there is no nexus or connection between the victims or suspects in the Bedford Township incident or the incident in Raisinville Township. The families from both incidents, both the victims and suspects, are fully cooperating. We want to express our sincere condolences to the family, and thoughts and prayers are with them. We please ask the community to respect their privacy. I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. And I would ask that the questions just be directed to me. We don't want anything to be conveyed that would hamper the ongoing investigation.
You said that in the case of the Bedford one, he gained entry to the house. Do we know exactly what happened there?
That he gained entry.
Was he let in or did he break in? Do we know?
At this time, that the point of entry and access, how he gained access, remains under investigation.
Okay.
But thank you for that question. Yes, Connor.
You said in the case of Faith and Landon, you used the word venue. What venue did they arrive at, or was it just?
Heiss Road.
Okay.
Sheriff, the Raisinville incident, are you labeling that as a homicide-suicide?
We are not. That's pending the coroner's report.
You had mentioned suspects, so is Landon being looked at as a suspect in that shooting?
In the investigation, yes.
Forgive me, on the Raisinville, you described her as a victim, but yet you're not calling that a homicide-suicide, depending on a coroner's report. Can you clarify a little more on that, please?
Yes, so the coroner will determine the manner of death. I can't determine manner of death. And when they give us that autopsy report, they will list cause and manner.
But I believe you referred to her as a victim in this case, right?
Our preliminary investigation, we feel she's a victim, yes.
And he is not? I mean,
Preliminarily, that is correct.
but we should not take the leap that that was a murder-suicide also?
Correct.
Could you talk about, I mean, this has been such a tragic few days. I mean, can you kind of talk about what it's been like for the community to have so many of these young people die in such tragic ways?
It's been tragic. It's been a significant impact on our community. The tranquility. If you look at it from a general perspective, we're a farming community, rural, some urban areas as well, but for the most part, you know, we're 155,000 people. Everybody knows everybody, for lack of a better term.
Sheriff, you mentioned that in the case of the Bedford one, that Gwen did not consider the relationship to be romantic, but is it any suspicions that it was the opposite way around, that this coach felt this was a romantic relationship he was trying to pursue?
I can't comment on what he thought. I can only tell you that evidence at this time does not indicate that.
Sheriff, do you know how long he was the bowling coach?
I do not.
Is there any more detail you can provide about how, in the initial press release, there was, or you didn't believe he was a coach, there was no knowledge of him being employed by the school, but then later today, you found, earlier today, I should say, you learned that he was the coach. Is there a reason why that information was not vetted at the beginning in the initial press release?
You know, we have people that call of leadership positions and give us information, and we put it out that way. There's certain information that we vet, and we had no reason to believe that wasn't the case. And obviously, more information has come to light that drove me to ask further questions and get some clarification. And I think there was some work behind the scenes by the school officials to vet that very question.
Is there any past history, when we talk the Bedford case with Mr. List, about other students perhaps, complaints made against him perhaps, any relevant history that you're able to share prior to this incident in regards to him and his relationship with teens he was coaching?
We don't have any information to that fact, other than we know that 5 days prior to this incident, there was a communication that was being looked into.
Between he and the victim?
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
No, sir.
Can you share the spellings of the Raisinville Township victims' names?
Yes. It is Faith, F-A-I-T-H, Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Hamilton, Hamilton, and Landon, Landon, Brian, Bryan, LaFond, Lafond.
And you mentioned in that case that Faith's uncle was the one that found the two of them. Did she give any indication to her uncle that she was heading that way, or how did he come across the two victims?
No, I believe they used an app on her phone.
And then with the Bedford case, what was the coach's status with the school before the shooting happened? Was he active actively working with the bowling team at that time?
I've been told that he had resigned his position. Again, let me maybe reiterate this. His employment arrangements was with the local bowling establishment and not the school. So, but I've been led to believe, and I don't have anything that would give me anything to believe otherwise, that he resigned from his position at that bowling alley.
Do you know how long they were in communication with each other?
That still remains under investigation.
What's the name of this bowling establishment?
It's Forest View Lanes.
Forest View?
Forest View Lanes, yes.
Do you know when he resigned from that position?
I do not. Specifically, I do not. So like I said,
Was it this year or?
yes, I was told it was within a short time period of this incident.
Forgive me for playing catch-up here. I was familiar with the story, but not covering it directly. When we talk about the Raisinville discovery, they were both in one vehicle, is that correct?
No, they were outside the vehicle.
Okay. And then when we go back to Bedford, was the victim alone at home at the time of Mr. List's arrival, if you know?
That's our understanding.
And lastly, for me at least, appreciating you need to investigate, appreciating the sensitivity for families, all of it. On the surface, it looks like two similar cases in that potentially male assailants, female victims, potential relationships, potentially not. I mean, we should not jump to such conclusions as what you're sharing again here today, or can you elaborate at all in regard to apologizing media maybe makes knee-jerk assumptions and reactions incorrectly? Help me.
Well, first of all, that's why we've been transparent with all the incidents that have occurred in Monroe County since Saturday. And I don't know, you said how help you understand what you may jump to conclusions. Can you give me an example?
Well, sir, all I'm saying is on the surface, this looks like two young teenage girl victims at the hands of potentially male assailants, even though you say don't make that assumption on Raisinville. You mentioned in the Raisinville case, they had a dating relationship. Again, not established with Mr. List that was the case. So there's a lot of unknowns, but yet on the surface, it's plausible to a layperson to look at it that way.
And they can make a lot of assumptions, and that's why I've given you information that is factual and we can sustain and support. As I said, this is an ongoing investigation, and it is going to be an ongoing investigation. We've got a lot of technical data that we have to review. We have a lot of interviews that we have to take place with friends and family. There's a lot of detailed work that needs to go into this. We're here today to give the community some answers, put their mind at rest that there is no danger to them, and that we will, like every investigation that the sheriff's office handles, do a complete, thorough, concise investigation. So when the men and women of the sheriff's office are done and put their name on that report, we're confident in our findings.
And just to make,
Now, I just hope that answers your question.
It does.
You know, I mean, anybody can make assumptions on a lot of stuff. That's why
I
we've.
don't mean to, but
You're fine. You know, I want that dialogue, right? I want you to leave here today, everybody, having those questions answered, so that we don't have to worry about follow-up and other things of that nature. And we will. Once things become available, we will convey that out in the form of a press release, particularly manner and cause of death.
Is anything being done for some of the students in the local school districts for kids who might have, known some of the victims in this, grief counseling, that type of stuff?
Yeah, and that's a good point. And maybe I conveyed it a little quickly. But yes, both schools have activated their crisis management team. Knowing we're on summer break, they still activated those units available to those students of the victims and the individuals involved in this case, because we do want to make sure that their mental health is attended to as well. This is a very tragic situation.
Raisinville incident, those two were students in airport community. Can you share what, sophomores, juniors?
We're just leaving it very brief right now that they were students at airport community schools.
Did the 33-year-old man have prior contact with law enforcement, to your knowledge?
What do you define as prior contact?
Arrested for DUI or any felonies on the record, something that would preclude him from associating with high school students?
No, sir. We have no information that would lead us in that direction.
And can you provide any additional information about the nature of his resignation, why that could have happened?
I don't know why he resigned. I don't have that. He went in and resigned.
And in his position at the bowling alley, did he work with other high school students other than Bedford?
It's my understanding that he was a coach, and he did have interaction with other bowling students, male and female.
At other schools?
No, at the bowling alley, at the bowling alley.
I think she's just asking, did he only work with Bedford bowlers?
And I
Did he
can't
work
answer
with
that.
any other
I
high schools?
I can't answer whether he worked with any other schools that may have gone to that. I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying that.
What should people do that are experiencing profound negative emotions because of these events in order to help themselves?
And that's a great question. If they're students of either school district, we ask that they reach out to their respective school districts for the resources that are there. If they're not involved in schools, they're adults, we have a very robust community mental health program here in Monroe County. There's crisis lines, numbers that are online. They can reach out to Monroe County Central Dispatch. We'll be more than happy to share that information with them as well to get them to the resources they need.
In either case, are you aware of any potential threats that have been made against these young girls prior to these incidents?
We don't have any information at this time that would indicate that. But again, I'm not saying that's not, or it's not come to our attention yet.
And is there anything you can share about the weapons used? Were they legally registered? Anything relevant about them?
I don't want to get into the weapons because we're still doing investigation, and there's a lot, as you know, with firearms, there's a lot of data that has to be collected to confirm that. So, but once we do, rest assured, as we learn detailed information, we'll do our very best to convey that information.
Thank you.
Scott, did you have a question? I did not.
No,
Okay, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just.
I do have a question, but I'll save it for afterward.
Okay.
I'll just ask you privately,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Any other questions, comments?
I guess, is there anything that you would leave the community with? I know this has rocked the community. You yourself got emotional at the beginning. Is there any message that you would have for residents here in the county?
Trust us that we're going to do the right thing.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.